The year was 2235, and humanity had spread its reach beyond the cradle of Earth, establishing colonies on distant moons and planets. The frontier was a place of both incredible opportunity and unimaginable danger, a fact that the residents of the mining colony on Titan, Saturn's largest moon, were about to learn firsthand. It was a day like any other in the colony's bustling command center, monitors ablaze with data streams from the deep-core drilling operations that plumbed Titan's icy depths for precious resources. The hum of machinery and the routine chatter of the crew provided a comforting backdrop to the colony's daily operations. That comforting routine was shattered when the long-range sensors, usually quiet, suddenly blared an alarm that had never been heard before. An unidentified fleet was approaching, and it was not responding to any hails. The colony's administrator, Captain Lena Mirov, a veteran of space's unforgiving frontier, immediately recognized the gravity of the situation. With no military presence in the outer colonies and Earth a distant lifeline, the colony was woefully unprepared for any form of aggression. Her only hope was that this unidentified fleet was here for peaceful reasons. As the alien ships entered orbit around Titan, their advanced technology and sheer size dwarfed the human colony's defenses. A sense of dread settled over the command center as they awaited the aliens' next move. It was not long before a communication channel was established, and the visage of a Thal commander appeared on their screens. The Thals, as they introduced themselves, were a species that exuded confidence and superiority. Commander Vrax, the imposing figure on the screen, spoke with an authority that left no room for negotiation. He explained that the Thal Empire had been expanding its dominion across the galaxy, and that humanity's fledgling colonies now lay within their path of conquest. Captain Mirov, standing firm in the face of this existential threat, attempted to negotiate, to find some way to coexist or at least avoid conflict. But Commander Vrax was dismissive, stating that humanity was considered a primitive species, barely worth the effort of subjugation. The Thralls were interested only in Earth's resources, not in its people or its technology. The only concession he offered was a brief period for humanity to acknowledge the Thal Empire's supremacy and surrender unconditionally. As the communication ended, a heavy silence fell over the command center. Captain Mirov looked around at her crew, seeing the fear and uncertainty in their eyes. But alongside those feelings, there was a spark of something else. Defiance. Determined not to let this first encounter dictate the future of humanity, Captain Mirov sent out a message to Earth, detailing the encounter with the Thralls and their demands. She knew that her message would ignite a fire across the human colonies, a fire that would burn with the determination to stand against the Thralls. Humanity might have been outmatched technologically, but they had resilience, ingenuity, and, most importantly, something worth fighting for. This moment marked the beginning of humanity's journey from an isolated species, scattered across the stars, to a united force that would carve out its place in the galaxy. The encounter on Titan would be remembered as the spark that ignited the flame of resistance, a testament to the human spirit's indomitable will. Back on Earth, the news of the Thal Empire's encounter with the Titan mining colony spread like wildfire. In the United Nations' newly established Extraterrestrial Affairs Committee, world leaders, military strategists, and diplomats gathered in an emergency session to discuss the unprecedented threat. The mood was grim. Earth's scattered colonies were not prepared for a confrontation of this magnitude. The Thralls' advanced technology and imperialistic intent posed a clear and present danger to humanity's survival. As the committee deliberated, a live feed from a Thal ship cut across the session, silencing the room. Commander Vrax appeared on screen once more, this time addressing the leaders of Earth directly. His message was clear and uncompromising. Earth and all human colonies had 2 weeks to surrender unconditionally to the Thal Empire, or face complete annihilation. To emphasize his point, Vrax showed live footage of a Thal warship effortlessly obliterating an uninhabited moon, demonstrating their technological superiority and their willingness to use it. The committee was in shock. Some leaders argued for immediate surrender to save lives, believing resistance futile. Others, fueled by defiance and a refusal to bow to alien conquerors, pushed for preparing Earth's defenses, despite the seemingly insurmountable odds. The debate raged on, with humanity's future hanging in the balance. In the midst of this chaos, an unlikely voice emerged with a proposal so outlandish that it initially garnered laughter. Dr. Emil Hartwig, a theoretical physicist known for his eccentric theories and love of Earth's early 21st century video games, proposed a plan that seemed straight out of science fiction. He argued that conventional warfare was indeed futile against the thralls, but humanity possessed one advantage: creativity and unpredictability, often showcased in their video games. Hartwig suggested retrofitting Earth's defense fleet with weapons and defense systems inspired by these games, arguing that the unconventional tactics and technologies could catch the thralls off guard. The committee was skeptical. The idea of using concepts from video games against a superior alien force seemed like madness. But as Hartwig passionately outlined his theory, noting how these games represented humanity's ingenuity and ability to think outside the box, a shift occurred. With conventional options amounting to a guaranteed loss, the committee began to see Hartwig's plan as a glimmer of hope, a shot at survival that played to humanity's strengths rather than its technological disadvantages. After intense debate, the committee made a decision. Earth would not surrender. It would fight, using Hartwig's unconventional strategy as the cornerstone of its defense. The plan was dubbed Operation Ludicrous, a fitting name for what was either humanity's most brilliant gambit or its last folly. As the decision was broadcast worldwide, a mix of fear, excitement, and sheer disbelief swept through the global population. Scientists, engineers, gamers, and military personnel were mobilized to begin the monumental task of reimagining Earth's defense capabilities. The world, previously divided by petty conflicts and national interests, united under a common cause: survival against an alien threat. Operation Ludicrous was a beacon of hope, a testament to humanity's refusal to go quietly into the night. The coming weeks would be a race against time to prepare for the thralls' arrival, a period of unprecedented innovation and cooperation. Earth was about to engage in a conflict unlike any before, armed with the most unexpected of weapons: the creativity and resilience of the human spirit. In the days following the decision to adopt Dr. Emil Hartwig's audacious plan, a palpable sense of urgency enveloped Earth. Across continents, governments pooled resources, rallying the brightest minds and most skilled engineers to bring Operation Ludicrous to life. Hartwig, now appointed as the lead scientific advisor for Earth's defense, was given unprecedented access to resources, personnel, and anything he deemed necessary for the project's success. Hartwig's first step was to assemble a diverse team, a mix of theoretical physicists, software developers, military strategists, and, notably, several prominent figures from the gaming industry. This eclectic group was tasked with translating the mechanics of video games into viable technological innovations. The world watched in a mix of skepticism and fascination as the team embarked on this unconventional mission. The core of Hartwig's proposal centered around three primary innovations inspired by video game logic and mechanics. Drawing from the concept of character revival in video games, Hartwig proposed the development of autonomous repair drones that could quickly restore damaged spacecraft. These drones would be equipped with advanced 3D printing technology capable of producing parts on the fly, essentially allowing ships to respawn by rapidly repairing themselves during battle. Inspired by the power-ups and temporary shields found in games, the team worked on energy fields that could be activated to provide temporary invulnerability or enhanced firepower to the ships. These energy fields were based on cutting-edge plasma technology, which, when activated, could drastically change the tide of a battle with their unpredictable effects. Borrowing from the concept of teleportation and warp speed in science fiction and video games, Hartwig's team developed a prototype propulsion system that allowed short-range jumps in space. This technology would enable Earth's fleet to appear and disappear with bewildering speed, disorienting the enemy and creating opportunities for surprise attacks. As these ideas were developed, a parallel effort was made to integrate video game strategies into military training. Simulations and war games were designed to train pilots and crews in the unconventional tactics that the new technologies afforded. The goal was to cultivate a mindset of creativity, adaptability, and unpredictability, turning perceived weaknesses into strategic advantages. Despite the innovative rush, there were setbacks and failures. Some concepts proved too ambitious, requiring adjustments or abandonment. Yet each failure was met with determination, as the project had become a beacon of hope for humanity. The global community was engaged as never before, with ideas and support flooding in from all corners of the world. Gamers conducted live streams to raise funds for the project, while engineers shared open-source designs to improve the technology. The culmination of Hartwig's proposal was a grand unveiling of the newly outfitted fleet. The ships bore little resemblance to their former selves, adorned with experimental weapons and bizarre, yet purposeful modifications. Each vessel was a testament to human ingenuity, a blend of science and fiction, reality and fantasy. As the deadline approached, the world held its breath. Hartwig and his team had done the impossible, transforming a desperate last-ditch effort into a tangible plan with a glimmer of hope. Humanity's fleet, once conventional and outdated, was now a wild card, embodying the unpredictable spirit of its creators. Operation Ludicrous was not just a military strategy. It was a symbol of humanity's refusal to accept defeat. As the Thal fleet neared Earth, they expected to encounter a primitive and broken people. Instead, they would meet a united humanity, armed with the most unlikely of weapons: their wits, their will, and the wisdom found in the virtual worlds they had created. The stage was set for a confrontation that would be remembered as the most unconventional conflict in the history of interstellar warfare. Word of humanity's unconventional preparations for war spread through the galaxy like ripples from a stone cast into a still pond. The Thal Empire, with its vast network of spies and informants, quickly learned of Earth's Operation Ludicrous and the bizarre arsenal it was assembling. The news was met with incredulity and amusement among the Thal military ranks, and soon became a topic of ridicule across the civilized galaxy. High-ranking Thal commanders shared intercepted schematics of Earth's modified ships and weapons in war councils, laughing at the absurdity of facing such contraptions in battle. The galaxy, with its diverse array of civilizations, had seen many forms of warfare, from the bio-engineered plagues of the Silthar hegemony to the psychic assaults of the Mindweave Consortium. Yet the idea of a species resorting to tactics and technologies inspired by primitive entertainment media was unheard of. It became a common joke that the Thals were about to wage war not against a formidable enemy, but against a circus. Meanwhile, on neutral planets and in the spaceports that dotted the trade routes of the galaxy, tales of humanity's plan became fodder for entertainers and the subject of satirical plays. Vendors sold caricatures of human ships equipped with cartoonishly oversized weapons and shields, alongside Thal warships depicted as bemused, if not outright bored, by their impending confrontation. However, amidst the laughter and mockery, a few voices in the galactic community expressed a different sentiment. Scholars of xenopsychology and historians who had studied the rise and fall of countless empires cautioned against underestimating any species driven to such creative desperation. They argued that the true danger of humanity's strategy lay not in the technological innovations themselves, but in the unpredictable nature of a species willing to gamble everything on such a wild card. These warnings were largely dismissed by the Thal military command, confident in their technological superiority and strategic prowess. Back on Earth, the mood was starkly different. Knowing full well the galaxy's scorn, humanity's resolve only hardened. The laughter of alien civilizations did not weaken the spirit of Earth's defenders. Rather, it galvanized them. The global population followed the progress of Operation Ludicrous with bated breath, their hopes and fears intertwined with the fate of the eccentric fleet that now represented their last stand against annihilation. In the final days before the Thal fleet's expected arrival, Dr. Emil Hartwig addressed the world. Standing before a backdrop of Earth's newly transformed ships, he spoke not of certainty of victory, but of the courage to face the unknown. Hartwig acknowledged the galaxy's derision, but reminded humanity that throughout history, the greatest breakthroughs often came from the most unexpected places. He urged the people of Earth to stand proud, regardless of the outcome, for they had already achieved something remarkable. In the face of extinction, they had chosen to defy the odds, to innovate, and to unite. As the Thal Armada approached, the galaxy watched, expecting a swift and decisive end to what many considered a farce. Yet, there was an undeniable undercurrent of anticipation. A question lingered in the minds of those across the stars, friend and foe alike. What if, in their arrogance, the galaxy had overlooked the possibility that humanity's foolish gambit might just work? The stage was set for a confrontation that would shatter expectations and challenge the very notions of warfare, innovation, and survival. Earth's defenders, bolstered by their ingenuity and the spirit of defiance, prepared to face the Thal Empire not just as warriors, but as harbingers of a new era in the cosmic saga. The laughter of the galaxy had not weakened them, it had made them stronger, more determined, and, in a way, unpredictable. Humanity was ready to prove that sometimes the greatest strength comes from the most unlikely of sources. As the first rays of dawn touched the command centers scattered across Earth, the air was electric with anticipation. The Thal fleet, a looming shadow in the vastness of space, was now hours away from Earth's orbit. Humanity's defenders, a motley crew of military veterans, scientists, gamers, and volunteers, manned their posts in the retrofitted ships of Earth's hastily assembled fleet. Each vessel, a testament to human ingenuity and desperation, bristled with unconventional weapons that had been the subject of so much galactic mockery. Dr. Emil Hartwig, aboard the flagship Ingenium *, watched as the final preparations were made. The ships around him bore the names of legendary figures and places from human mythology and history, a reminder of Earth's rich tapestry of stories about overcoming insurmountable odds. Hartwig couldn't help but feel that they were about to add their own chapter to that legacy, for better or worse. The Thal Armada appeared in the sky like a swarm of locusts, their ships sleek and deadly, designed for maximum efficiency in combat. In stark contrast, the human fleet seemed eclectic and chaotic, each ship a patchwork of technologies inspired by video game logic and science fiction fantasies. Yet, as the two forces faced each other across the void, there was a palpable sense of the unknown. The Thralls, for all their might, could not predict the outcome of this bizarre confrontation. The battle commenced with the Thralls launching a barrage of energy projectiles, confident in their quick victory. But as the first salvos approached the human fleet, the Ingenium * activated its experimental power-up shield, absorbing the energy and redirecting it into a concentrated blast that obliterated several Thal scouts. The sight of their ships being vaporized by their own firepower sent a ripple of shock through the Thal ranks. Meanwhile, the Odyssey *, a cruiser retrofitted with respawn technology, found itself in the thick of the battle. Damaged by a direct hit, it seemed doomed to be the first casualty of the conflict. But then, swarms of repair drones emerged from its hull, fixing the damage at an unprecedented rate, allowing the Odyssey * to rejoin the fight as if reborn from its ashes. The Arcadia *, utilizing the warp tactics developed from video game-inspired propulsion systems, danced through the Thal lines, appearing and disappearing in bursts of speed that left the enemy disoriented and unable to lock onto their target. Its attacks, though not always successful, sowed chaos in the Thal formation, creating openings for Earth's fighters to exploit. As the battle raged, the humans' unconventional tactics began to turn the tide. The Thralls, unable to adapt to the erratic and unpredictable nature of the human fleet, found themselves on the defensive. Their commanders, trained to face opponents who adhered to the known laws of physics and conventional strategies, were ill-prepared for the sheer creativity and adaptability of the humans. The turning point came when a group of human ships, modeled after the kamikaze fighters of ancient Earth history, but equipped with non-lethal payloads, breached the Thal flagship's defenses. Instead of explosives, They released a barrage of EMP-like devices that disrupted the flagship's systems, rendering it helpless. The sight of their invincible flagship faltering under such an unorthodox attack demoralized the Thal forces, prompting a retreat to reassess their strategy. In the aftermath of the battle, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. The human fleet, against all odds, had repelled the first wave of the Thal invasion. The victory was not just a military triumph, it was a message to the galaxy that underestimating the creativity and resilience of humanity was a grave mistake. Back on Earth, the news of the unexpected victory ignited celebrations. For the first time since the Thal ultimatum, hope flickered in the hearts of Earth's citizens. They had witnessed their defenders, armed with the stupidest weapons the galaxy had ever seen, stand toe-to-toe with a superior enemy and emerge victorious. Yet Hartwig and the rest of the fleet knew that the war was far from over. The Thralls would come back, likely with countermeasures to the human fleet's unconventional tactics. But for now, Earth had earned a reprieve, and more importantly, it had proven that in the theater of war, creativity and unpredictability could be just as potent as firepower and numbers. The trial by fire had ended in humanity's favor, but the real battle for survival was just beginning. The unexpected victory of Earth's fleet over the Thal vanguard sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Humanity's triumph, though celebrated on Earth, was not seen as the end of the threat, but rather the beginning of a grueling campaign. The Thralls, humiliated by their defeat, were regrouping, their resolve to crush humanity only hardened by the setback. Earth's leaders, fully aware of the precariousness of their situation, prepared for a protracted conflict. Dr. Emil Hartwig, his status elevated to that of a planetary hero, was nonetheless sober about the challenges ahead. The initial success of Operation Ludicrous had bought them time and a measure of respect, but the Thralls would adapt. In response, Hartwig and his team dove back into their work, refining their technologies and devising new strategies to keep their opponents off balance. The next phase of the conflict saw Earth's fleet taking a more aggressive stance. Utilizing the element of surprise and their unconventional tactics, human ships began launching raids on Thal supply lines and outposts. These hit-and-run attacks, while minor in scale, were effective in disrupting the enemy's operations and sapping their morale. The Arcadia, with its warp tactics, became a legend among both human and Thal forces, a ghost ship that struck without warning and vanished before retaliation could be mounted. One of the most significant turning points came from the unlikely quarter of the galaxy's other civilizations. Initially dismissive of humanity's chances, several species began to view Earth's resistance in a new light following the Thralls' public defeat. Secret communications channels opened, with offers of intelligence, resources, and even covert aid flowing into Earth's command centers. Among these were the Alari, a species known for their advanced cloaking technology, who provided schematics that would allow Earth's ships to evade Thral sensors more effectively. This period of the war, characterized by guerrilla tactics and alliances forged in the shadows, became known as the Campaign of Whispers. Humanity's fleet, once a ragtag assembly of modified vessels, evolved into a formidable force, leveraging the combined knowledge and resources of multiple civilizations against the Thral Empire. Meanwhile, on the Thral homeworld, the mood was grim. The Empire, unaccustomed to setbacks in its galactic conquests, found itself in an unfamiliar position. The High Command, under pressure from the Thral populace and the Emperor, launched a series of internal purges, seeking to root out the perceived weakness that had led to their defeats. New strategies were formulated, focusing on counteracting the human fleet's unpredictable tactics. Despite these efforts, the Thralls found themselves playing catch-up, their traditional methods of warfare continually stymied by humanity's ingenuity. Amidst the ongoing conflict, Earth's spirit of innovation flourished. New technologies, inspired by the alliance with the Alari and other species, were integrated into the fleet. Ships equipped with cloaking devices and energy weapons that mimicked video game power-ups became the new standard. Training programs for pilots and crew were revamped, incorporating strategies that combined human creativity with alien tactics. The Campaign of Whispers culminated in a daring assault on a Thal command hub located in the Betelgeuse system. The operation, led by the Ingenium and the now legendary Arcadia, saw a combined force of human and allied alien vessels infiltrating the system under cloak. Their target was the hub's communication array, the destruction of which would sever the Thal Empire's command and control capabilities in the sector. The assault was a resounding success. The Thal command hub was left crippled, its fleet in disarray. The victory marked not just a tactical win for Earth and its allies, but a symbolic one. Humanity had demonstrated that it could not only defend its home, but also take the fight to the enemy, challenging the might of the Thal Empire on its turf. As news of the operation's success spread, a wave of optimism swept through Earth and its colonies. The tide of the war was turning, not through brute force, but through the alliance of civilizations united by a common cause. Humanity, once seen as the underdog, had emerged as a beacon of hope and defiance in the face of tyranny. The Thal Empire, now forced to reckon with a galvanized and united front, began to show signs of fracturing. Dissent grew within its ranks, as the cost of the war mounted and the prospect of victory grew ever more distant. Earth's strategy of leveraging its stupidest weapon, its unpredictability and ingenuity, had shifted the balance of power in the galaxy, setting the stage for the next phase of the conflict, where the stakes would be nothing less than the fate of countless worlds. The success of the assault on the Thal command hub in the Betelgeuse system marked a significant turning point in the interstellar conflict. The victory not only showcased humanity's growing prowess in unconventional warfare, but also served as a beacon, illuminating the possibility of resistance against the Thal Empire's tyranny. This act of defiance, coupled with the strategic blow to Thal communications, resonated across the galaxy, inspiring other civilizations to reconsider their stance on the conflict. In the aftermath of the Betelgeuse operation, representatives from several species approached Earth with offers of alliance. These species, subjugated or threatened by the Thal Empire, saw in humanity not just a potential ally, but a symbol of hope, a chance to reclaim their freedom and dignity. The Alari, already covert allies, formally acknowledged their support, unveiling a network of resistance movements across Thal-occupied territories. Dr. Emil Hartwig, alongside Earth's newly formed Extraterrestrial Affairs Department, worked tirelessly to forge these alliances into a cohesive force. Negotiations, held in secret aboard the Ingenium laid the groundwork for what would become known as the Galactic Alliance for Freedom. This alliance was a testament to humanity's diplomatic acumen, uniting disparate species with the common goal of resisting Thal domination. The Galactic Alliance for Freedom's first order of business was to establish a unified strategy that leveraged each member's strengths. The Alari contributed their advanced cloaking technology, while the Tissur, a species renowned for their electronic warfare capabilities, offered to enhance Earth's fleet with sophisticated jamming devices. The Vrachnids, despite their pacifist nature, provided crucial intelligence on Thal supply routes and military deployments. This coalition of the willing embarked on a series of coordinated strikes against key Thal assets. These operations ranged from sabotage missions on occupied worlds to full-scale battles in contested systems. Earth's fleet, now a patchwork of human and alien technology, spearheaded these assaults, with Hartwig's unconventional tactics at the forefront of their strategy. One of the most daring operations was the liberation of the Korax system, a vital agricultural hub that the Thralls had converted into a slave labor camp. A joint human Elari task force infiltrated the system, deploying a combination of stealth, electronic warfare, and direct assault to disable the Thrall defenses and free the enslaved populations. The operation was a resounding success, delivering a significant blow to the Thrall war effort and securing vital resources for the Galactic Alliance. As the Alliance's victories accumulated, the galaxy began to take notice. More species, previously neutral or too intimidated to act, joined the cause, swelling the ranks of the Galactic Alliance for freedom. Even within Thal-controlled territories, resistance movements, emboldened by the Alliance's successes, intensified their efforts, further destabilizing the Empire's grip on its domains. The Thralls, facing a galaxy increasingly united against them, struggled to adapt. The seeds of dissent began to take root within their empire as the cost of the war mounted and the prospect of victory dimmed. The once unquestionable authority of the Thral High Command was now challenged by voices within their own ranks, questioning the wisdom of continuing a war that seemed increasingly unwinnable. Meanwhile, on Earth and among the allied worlds, a new sense of camaraderie and purpose took hold. The Galactic Alliance for Freedom was not just a military coalition. It was a symbol of the galaxy's collective desire for autonomy and respect for diversity. Humanity, once on the brink of subjugation, had emerged as a leader in a movement that spanned stars and cultures. Dr. Hartwig, reflecting on the journey from Earth's first desperate stand to the formation of the Galactic Alliance, marveled at the unlikely path they had traveled. The stupidest weapon, once ridiculed across the galaxy, had become their greatest strength, uniting a diverse coalition of species in a common cause. The fight for freedom was far from over, but for the first time since the Thral ultimatum, victory seemed within reach, not just for Earth, but for all civilizations yearning to break free from the shadow of tyranny. With the Galactic Alliance for Freedom gaining momentum, a daring plan emerged, one that would aim to strike at the heart of the Thral Empire, Thral Prime itself. The idea was audacious and fraught with danger. Thral Prime was not just the political center of the Empire. It was a fortress world, bristling with defenses and surrounded by the most formidable fleet the galaxy had seen. However, the Alliance's leaders, buoyed by their string of victories and the growing unrest within Thral-controlled territories, believed that a decisive blow against Thral Prime could end the war. The plan, codenamed Operation Dawnstrike, was the brainchild of a joint strategic committee formed by members of the Galactic Alliance. It required a multifaceted approach, combining espionage, massive fleet engagements, and precise strikes against key planetary defenses. Earth's fleet, under the command of Dr. Emil Hartwig and Admiral Sophia Lynn, was to lead the assault, supported by contingents from each Alliance member. Preparations for Operation Dawnstrike were extensive. The Alliance's intelligence network, which now included defectors from within the Thral ranks, worked tirelessly to gather detailed information about Thral Prime's defenses. Meanwhile, Hartwig and his team developed new weapons and tactics specifically designed to counter the anticipated Thral response. This included a series of decoy drones, capable of mimicking the energy signatures of Alliance ships, and a new kind of warp mine that could disrupt Thral hyperspace routes, isolating Thral Prime from reinforcements. As D-Day approached, the Galactic Alliance's fleet assembled at the edge of the Thral system, hidden within a dense nebula. The atmosphere among the crew was tense. Everyone understood the magnitude of the task ahead. Yet, there was also a sense of unity and determination that transcended species and previous allegiances. They were not just fighting for their homes, but for the idea that the galaxy could be more than a collection of territories to be conquered and subjugated. The siege began with a feint, a diversionary attack launched against a nearby Thral military outpost to draw the fleet away from Thral Prime. As expected, the Thral commanders, eager to protect their assets, dispatched a significant portion of their fleet to repel the attack. This left Thral Prime's defenses weakened, providing the Alliance with a narrow window of opportunity. The main fleet, led by the Ingenium and the flagship vessels of the Alliance members, emerged from the nebula and made a beeline for Thral Prime. The Thralls, taken by surprise, scrambled to mount a defense. The battle that ensued was unlike any before. The space around Thral Prime became a maelstrom of energy blasts, exploding ships and daring maneuvers. Hartwig's decoy drones sowed confusion among the Thral defenders, allowing Alliance ships to breach the outer defenses and engage the orbital platforms guarding the planet. On the surface of Thral Prime, elite teams from the Alliance, including humans, Elari, Tsur, and others, launched ground operations targeting anti-spacecraft batteries and communication nodes. These teams, equipped with the latest in stealth and combat technology, fought their way through the Thal defenses, disabling key facilities and sowing chaos among the defending forces. As the battle raged in space and on the ground, a small task force led by the Arcadia executed the most crucial part of the plan. Utilizing the warp mines to create a temporary breach in the Thrall's defensive perimeter, they made a daring dash towards the planet's capital, aiming to capture key government and military leaders and force a ceasefire. The siege of Thal Prime was the culmination of years of conflict, a testament to the resilience and courage of the Galactic Alliance. It was a battle fought not just with ships and weapons, but with the hearts and minds of those who believed in a galaxy free from tyranny. As the Alliance's forces pushed deeper into Thal territory, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, with the outcome of this audacious assault promising to change the course of history. The siege of Thal Prime, now in its critical phase, saw the Galactic Alliance's forces penetrating the very heart of the Thal Empire. The operation had reached a tipping point. Success hinged on the ability of the Alliance to maintain momentum and strike at the core of Thal power before the Empire could regroup and launch a counteroffensive. Inside Thal Prime's capital, chaos reigned. The once impenetrable city, a symbol of Thal dominance, was under siege. The elite teams, having disabled the planet's anti-spacecraft batteries, facilitated a series of precision landings by Alliance forces in key districts. These ground units, composed of soldiers from across the Alliance, engaged in fierce urban warfare, their objective to secure critical infrastructure and capture Thal leaders. Dr. Emil Hartwig, aboard the Ingenium *, coordinated the ground assault with Admiral Sophia Lin, commanding the orbital battle. Their strategy was clear: keep the pressure on the Thralls, disrupt their command and control, and prevent any attempt to organize a cohesive defense. Meanwhile, the Arcadia along with its task force, executed its mission to capture key government and military installations. The turning point came when a combined human Alari strike team breached the defenses of the Imperial Command Center, a fortress-like complex from which the Thal military operations were directed. The team, utilizing a mix of stealth technology and brute force, fought their way through the complex, disabling security systems and engaging Thal soldiers in intense close-quarters combat. As the strike team made its way deeper into the command center, they encountered unexpectedly fierce resistance. The Thralls, realizing the strategic importance of the facility, had deployed their elite guards to protect it. The battle within the walls of the command center was brutal, a testament to the desperation of both sides. But the resolve of the Alliance forces, driven by the knowledge that the fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders, proved indomitable. Meanwhile, the Arcadia's task force had reached the governmental sector, targeting the Thal High Council's chambers. The council, caught off guard by the swiftness of the Alliance's assault, was thrown into disarray. The task force's objective was not destruction, but the capture of the council members, hoping to use them as leverage to force a ceasefire and ultimately a peace agreement. Back in space, the battle for orbital supremacy raged on. The Alliance fleet, leveraging its numerical and tactical advantages, gradually pushed back the Thal defenders. The destruction of several key orbital platforms marked the collapse of the Thralls' orbital defense line, securing space around Thal Prime for the Alliance. As the dust settled on the ground, the Alliance's forces had secured significant portions of the capital, including the Imperial Command Center and the governmental sector. The capture of the Thal High Council was a critical victory, effectively decapitating the Empire's leadership and leaving its military forces in disarray. The siege of Thal Prime, while a significant victory, was not without cost. The streets of the capital bore the scars of battle, and both sides suffered heavy casualties. Yet the Alliance's success marked a pivotal moment in the war, demonstrating that the Thal Empire, for all its might and tyranny, was not invincible. In the aftermath of the siege, the Galactic Alliance began the complex process of negotiating a ceasefire. The captured Thal leaders, realizing the untenability of their position, were forced to come to the table. The discussions were tense, fraught with the weight of years of conflict and the deep animosities it had engendered. Yet, the prospect of a galaxy free from Thal domination, a vision that had seemed so distant at the war's outset, was now within reach. The siege of Thal Prime would be remembered not just as a military triumph, but as a moment when the galaxy stood united against oppression, a testament to the power of alliance and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to dream of a better future. With the capture of Thal Prime and the decisive blow to the Thal Empire's leadership, the galaxy stood on the precipice of a new era. The Galactic Alliance for Freedom, buoyed by its victories and the support of countless civilizations, now faced the daunting task of securing a lasting peace. The war, which had raged for years, had exacted a heavy toll on all sides, leaving scars that would take generations to heal. Negotiations between the Alliance and the remnants of the Thal Empire were complex and delicate. Trust was in short supply, and old animosities threatened to derail the fragile peace process at every turn. Yet there were voices on both sides willing to set aside past grievances in the name of a brighter future. Dr. Emil Hartwig, now a key figure in the Alliance's diplomatic efforts, advocated for reconciliation and cooperation. Drawing on Earth's own history of conflict and resolution, he emphasized the importance of forgiveness and understanding in paving the way to lasting peace. His impassioned speeches, delivered to both Alliance leaders and Thal representatives, resonated with many who yearned for an end to the cycle of violence. The first step towards peace came in the form of a ceasefire agreement, brokered by neutral mediators from across the galaxy. Both sides agreed to halt hostilities and withdraw their forces from contested territories, allowing for the establishment of demilitarized zones and humanitarian corridors. The ceasefire was a tentative but crucial first step, providing a foundation upon which further negotiations could be built. One of the thorniest issues facing the negotiators was the question of reparations and restitution. The Thal Empire, responsible for countless atrocities during its reign of terror, faced demands for justice from the Alliance's member species. Yet, the Alliance's leaders recognized that true reconciliation required more than just punishment. It demanded a commitment to rebuilding and healing the wounds of the past. In a bold move towards reconciliation, the Alliance proposed the establishment of a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, modeled after similar initiatives from Earth's own history. This commission would provide a forum for victims of Thal oppression to share their stories, seek justice, and receive reparations. It would also serve as a platform for dialogue and understanding between former enemies, fostering empathy and empathy. The Thal leadership, facing the stark reality of their empire's decline, reluctantly agreed to the Alliance's proposal. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, with representatives from all member species, was established on Thal Prime, symbolizing a commitment to facing the past and forging a path towards a better future. As the galaxy watched with bated breath, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission began its work. Victims of Thal aggression came forward to share their experiences, confronting their oppressors with the harsh realities of their actions. The process was painful and emotional, yet it also offered a glimmer of hope, a chance for healing and reconciliation in a galaxy scarred by war. In the months that followed, the ceasefire held, and the Alliance's diplomatic efforts bore fruit. Agreements were reached on the repatriation of displaced populations, the demilitarization of former Thal territories, and the establishment of joint initiatives for economic and cultural exchange. The galaxy, once divided by conflict and oppression, began to slowly rebuild, united by a shared vision of peace and prosperity. The path to peace was long and fraught with challenges, but the galaxy had taken the first steps towards a brighter future. The war between the Galactic Alliance for Freedom and the Thal Empire had ended, not with a decisive victory or crushing defeat, but with a commitment to reconciliation and cooperation. As the Truth and Reconciliation Commission continued its work, The galaxy dared to hope that the lessons learned from the past would pave the way to a future where war was but a distant memory, and peace reigned supreme. With the cessation of hostilities and the establishment of a tentative peace, the galaxy turned its attention to the monumental task of rebuilding. The war between the Galactic Alliance for Freedom and the Thal Empire had left devastation in its wake, with planets ravaged by conflict, economies shattered, and populations displaced. Yet, amidst the rubble and ruins, there was also hope, a determination to rise from the ashes and build a future worthy of the sacrifices made. Earth, once on the brink of annihilation, emerged from the war stronger and more united than ever before. The global community rallied together, pooling resources and expertise to aid in the reconstruction efforts. Humanitarian missions were dispatched to war-torn worlds, providing aid and assistance to those in need. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to develop new technologies for rebuilding infrastructure and restoring ecosystems ravaged by war. The spirit of cooperation extended beyond Earth's borders as the Galactic Alliance for Freedom mobilized its member species to support the reconstruction efforts. Resources and expertise flowed freely between worlds, as civilizations put aside old rivalries in the name of a common goal. Planetary economies, once dependent on war production, shifted towards peaceful endeavors, fostering trade and collaboration across the galaxy. One of the most remarkable aspects of the rebuilding process was the emergence of new alliances and partnerships forged in the crucible of war. Species that had once been bitter enemies now found themselves working side by side towards a shared future. The Alari, Tazur, Vrachnids, and countless others lent their expertise to the reconstruction efforts, contributing their unique perspectives and technologies to the collective endeavor. In the former Thal territories, the process of rebuilding was particularly challenging. Decades of oppression and exploitation had left deep scars on the planets and their populations. Yet, with the support of the Galactic Alliance, these worlds began the slow process of healing and renewal. Reconciliation initiatives brought together former enemies, fostering dialogue and understanding between Thal and non-Thal populations. One of the most poignant symbols of this newfound unity was the reconstruction of Thal Prime itself. Once a fortress world, synonymous with tyranny and oppression, Thal Prime was now being transformed into a beacon of hope and reconciliation. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission, housed within the city's walls, continued its work, ensuring that the lessons of the past were not forgotten. As the years passed, the scars of war began to fade, replaced by the green shoots of renewal and growth. Planets once ravaged by conflict blossomed once more, their populations resilient in the face of adversity. The Galactic Alliance for Freedom, now more than just a military coalition, had become a symbol of unity and cooperation in a galaxy still healing from the wounds of war. Yet, amidst the rebuilding and renewal, there were reminders of the challenges that lay ahead. Old prejudices and grievances lingered, threatening to undermine the fragile peace that had been achieved. The Galactic Alliance, mindful of the lessons learned from the past, remained vigilant, committed to upholding the principles of freedom, equality, and justice for all. As the galaxy looked towards the future, there was a sense of cautious optimism, a belief that, despite the hardships that lay ahead, the spirit of cooperation and solidarity that had emerged from the ashes of war would carry them forward towards a brighter tomorrow. The war may have ended, but the journey towards peace and prosperity was just beginning. Amidst the rebuilding and renewal, whispers of dissent began to stir in the darkest corners of the galaxy. Though the war between the Galactic Alliance for Freedom and the Thal Empire had ended, the scars it left behind ran deep, fueling resentment and bitterness among those who had lost everything in the conflict. In the shadows of the past, new threats emerged, threatening to unravel the fragile peace that had been so painstakingly forged. On the fringes of Thal-controlled space, remnants of the Empire's military forces, disillusioned by their defeat, sought refuge among the lawless worlds of the galactic frontier. These renegades, hardened by years of war and driven by a thirst for vengeance, formed the nucleus of a new insurgency, one that would stop at nothing to reclaim what they saw as their birthright. Meanwhile, within the Galactic Alliance itself, fissures began to appear as old rivalries resurfaced, and disagreements over the future direction of the galaxy threatened to tear the Alliance apart. Some member species, embittered by the losses they had suffered during the war, grew increasingly distrustful of their former enemies, advocating for a return to isolationism and militarism. Dr. Emil Hartwig, now serving as a diplomat and peacemaker, found himself once again thrust into the center of the storm. Tasked with navigating the treacherous waters of galactic politics, he worked tirelessly to bridge the divides that threatened to unravel the fragile peace. Yet, even he could not ignore the growing sense of unease that permeated the galaxy, a feeling that the shadows of the past were beginning to encroach upon the present. The resurgence of the Thal insurgency posed a particularly grave threat to the stability of the galaxy. Operating from hidden bases and fortified strongholds, these rebels launched a series of coordinated attacks against Alliance outposts and civilian populations, striking with ruthless efficiency and disappearing into the void before they could be stopped. Their goal was simple: to sow chaos and discord, weakening the Alliance from within and paving the way for a Thal resurgence. As tensions reached a boiling point, the Galactic Alliance for Freedom found itself teetering on the brink of collapse. Faced with internal divisions and external threats, its leaders struggled to maintain unity and cohesion in the face of overwhelming odds. The fragile peace that had been so painstakingly achieved hung in the balance, threatened by forces both seen and unseen. In the face of this growing crisis, Dr. Hartwig and his allies knew that decisive action was needed. They embarked on a desperate mission to root out the Thal insurgency and quell the rising tide of dissent within the Alliance. It would be a dangerous gambit, one that would test the limits of their resolve and push them to the brink of their capabilities. Yet, with the fate of the galaxy hanging in the balance, they had no choice but to confront the shadows of the past head-on, lest they be consumed by them once more. Dr. Emil Hartwig stood on the bridge of the Ingenium *, his expression grave as he watched the holographic display of the galaxy before him. Reports of Thal insurgent activity had been flooding in from across Alliance territory, painting a grim picture of sabotage, ambushes, and terror attacks. The fragile peace that had been so hard won now hung in the balance, threatened by enemies both old and new. The Alliance's response had been swift, but ineffective. Despite their best efforts, the Thal insurgents seemed always one step ahead, their movements shrouded in secrecy and their tactics ruthless in their efficiency. It was clear that this was not simply a ragtag group of dissidents. It was a well-organized and well-funded operation, with tendrils reaching deep into the galaxy's underworld. As Hartwig pondered the situation, a transmission came through from Admiral Sophia Lynn, commander of the Alliance fleet. Her voice was grim as she reported yet another attack on an Alliance outpost, this one resulting in heavy casualties. The Thal insurgents, it seemed, were growing bolder by the day, striking at the heart of the Alliance's defenses with impunity. With each passing hour, the situation grew more dire. The Alliance's leaders, gathered aboard the Ingenium *, knew that they could not afford to wait for the insurgents to strike again. They needed answers, and they needed them fast. Hartwig, drawing on his experience as a scientist and strategist, proposed a daring plan. Using a combination of intelligence-gathering techniques and cutting-edge technology, he believed they could uncover the source of the insurgency's support and cut off its head once and for all. The plan involved infiltrating the underworld networks known to have ties to the Thal insurgents. Under the cover of darkness, small teams of operatives would penetrate deep into enemy territory, gathering information and unraveling the web of intrigue that shrouded the insurgency's operations. It was a risky gambit, fraught with danger, but Hartwig believed it was their best chance at uncovering the truth. As the Alliance's forces mobilized for the mission, tensions ran high aboard the Ingenium *. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the stakes could not have been higher. Yet, Amidst the uncertainty and fear, there was also a sense of determination, a refusal to surrender to the shadows that threatened to engulf them. With the fate of the galaxy in their hands, Hartwig and his allies prepared to plunge into the darkness, ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead in their quest to unveil the truth behind the Thal insurgency. The shadows may have obscured their path, but they would not rest until they had brought them into the light, no matter the cost.